we overcommit as a ministry. When you take the 2025 budget, everybody knows, including members of parliament, knows what we have approved for the ministry. But I am sure almost everybody around the table who is an MP, whose road is not being fixed, is expecting that we will start tomorrow. But nobody ever asks, how will it be paid for if we send contractors to site? In fact, many of you even say that go to the site tomorrow. Well, from now, you need 1 year for full competitive bidding for that. So it is a general problem. So contractors work and raise certificates, and unfortunately, they are not paid for years. And there are parts of the contract which says we pay them interest on delayed payment. My argument with my engineers have always been that, why is it that the calculation of interest on delayed payment starts when the engineer at the region signs a certificate? Why is it not that when I approve the certificate? Because if it's the case that once the engineer signs, the certificate takes effect, then why are you coming to me? Because you are coming to me, or you are coming to the national office and coming to the minister because you thought there could be, you need my authorization. So that regulation, I said we will change that regulation. It shouldn't be that when a regional director signs a certificate, the contractor can start counting the interest on delayed payment from that day. It should be when the ministry finally authorizes. It's an anomaly in the system, because as the chief director already said, we're giving ourselves 21 days to complete. The regional director has already signed. What if I am unable to sign within that period? The contractor can still start counting interest on delayed payment. So we need to take a look at that. The intention is not to make the contractor worse off, but we need equity, some balance. Of course, when contractors borrow money from the bank using their houses as collateral and go and use it to fix my road or your road, we are not expecting them to take a hit if there's delays in payment. But we need to have some level of understanding that doesn't make, in fact, until recently, until the tail end of the last administration, interest was even compounding. So you could see a certificate rate for 2 million. In a few years' time, it's 6 million. 6 million.
But Honorable Minister, the law is the law, and it's the law. If you want any amendment to it, you know what to do. So let's do that.
My next question will be, BTS to the tune of 275,293 went through. I mean, there were BTS raised for payments, and yet there were no supporting documents for that. How do you answer to that, please?
I know during the special audit, people were asked to, because the auditors were presented with a set of information based on different contracts and other things, and they couldn't trace essential documents relating to some of them. Some could be contracts, some could be missing, let's say, 5 certificates added up to 20 million. And then the auditors saw 20 million, but they could only see 10 million cedis worth of certificates. They may require either the agency or the contractor to supply the rest of the certificate. And I know that in some cases, when they cannot find the additional document, what they did was to certify the amount whose documentation they can find and leave the rest. And sometimes the people don't come back. What does that mean? Does that mean that if the auditor didn't raise that, that was going to be a waste of money? I don't know, but I know that even this one, the auditors found it difficult to do. But even with this, even after this audit, we found out that there's a lot we can do to make the system even better.
So my last question will be, as a ministry, do you have an aging kind of analysis in place where contractors are paid based on the ones that fall due first? Or how do you manage your payables, your commitments and your arrears? How do you manage them? How do you pay them off, the contractors? How do you pay them off?
Ideally, it should be first in, first out. But let's say something. When we say GOG, the CAPEX at the Ministry of Roads, the disbursement doesn't actually come from Ministry of Roads. It comes from Ministry of Finance. We just do the paperwork to tally with whatever is in our system. That, if it's 4 billion that is in the name of the ministry, many of the times that money is not transferred physically to Ministry of Roads to physically disburse. But
yes, you also have your budget that you fiscally disburse. So
yes,
it's the same thing.
But the volume of work we do,
yes,
the volume of work we do,
yes,
much of our payment, apart from road fund, doesn't come from us directly. Once in a while we get a transfer, but what I'm saying is that his question is whether we have a system where we can say first in, first out. That is not always the case, and there's many reasons. There are situations where in an emergency, okay, let's say somebody went and did a pothole patching or regraveling, and then out of, 2 days, 3 days ago it rained, and a few roads have been washed off, few culverts broken, and you send somebody there to carry out an emergency work because that culvert is between where the teachers live and where the school is in that community. You might be tempted to, like, in the name of emergency, provide funding for that contractor to fix that bridge and postpone the payment of the other contractor further. I think it's just like triage in an emergency place at the hospital. If you went to the hospital with a hangover and somebody is bleeding out of a motor accident, a triage nurse will make a decision as to who gets to see the doctor first. And I think it's normal. It's the same way we treat some payments.
Minister, you can start from your end with your budget. This year you were giving over 13 billion. So maybe if you can start from what you have control over, and then you start the aging analysis with your budget approved for you in the 2026 budget, and then maybe you look into doing same in conjunction with Ministry of Finance for what they pay on your behalf. There's always a way to start. So let's start small and then see how we can do it.
Chair, you are very right. When it comes to that you are talking in terms of the big push allocations. The good thing is that as of today, there is no big push contractor who has raised certificate for works whose 1 CD is outstanding. We are prepared to pay for that, and it's a commitment we made. Everybody who raised work certificate has been cleared for payment. So we don't even need to prioritize who we pay first, who we pay second. Once the certificate is due, we clear it.
Minister, the import of my question is it will help reduce interest on delayed payment if we're able to pay those that are due first. We'll cut down the number of outstanding, the length of it. Thank you. That'll be all from me.
Okay, let's move on. Page 36 is talking about contractors confirmed 965 million less than they were owed. That's interesting. And the next one is payment vouchers for BTAs amounting to 26 million not found in gift mix. The financial guy, why?
Oh, Chair, I think it has to do with the same issue where the payments are done at finance without recourse to us. It's the same issue. Otherwise,
Up to the tune of, payments are done out there up to the tune of 26 million.
26 million.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So they paid that, and you didn't have that in the gift me system.
26 million, 965 million. It's 965.
Yes, it's 965 million. Contractors confirmed the 965 million less than what they were owed. Similar to what the minister said.
Yes, so it means that they receive these things without our knowledge. That is what I understand about that thing.
So how do we solve this problem? How do we solve this problem? You, the accountant guy, don't bring the minister in because he doesn't reconcile accounts.
Honorable Chair, I recall when we brought this thing up to Honorable Ampim Nyako.
Yes.
He was surprised at first. So he asked his directors, and they confirmed some of these things that were done prior to his coming to the ministry. So he said that as a first step, the director of budget, myself, and my chief director should do a small committee to see how we can come up with the exact amount, because these were done without recourse to us, so we don't even have the information. And surprisingly, even at the Ministry of Finance, they didn't have the information. When he asked, they didn't have the information. They didn't have the information. Unfortunately, the director, we met once and to...
But controller will have the information.
No.
Controller made the payment.
No. Some of them were done through Fidelity Bank. A lot, in fact. The billions were done through Fidelity. And bonds. Okay? So the Fidelity payments were done at Ministry of Finance, within Ministry of Finance and Fidelity. We wrote to Ministry of Finance severally requesting for that information. They didn't give us. We took steps to go to Fidelity Bank to ask for it. And they told us that they didn't deal with us. So they didn't give it to us.
Before the contractor went to Fidelity Bank, Ministry of Finance did not sign anything. Ministry of Finance does not go through the proper checks. Ministry of Finance just directed contractors to go there. Is that what you are saying?
Honorable Chair, the Ministry of Finance told, it was a national policy that they are going to pay contractors below 2 billion
Yes.
at Fidelity Bank. So they asked us to bring us a list.
Certainly.
So we sent
So
it to them.
you, Rhodes took a certain list to Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
This is